We're live on camera.
I'm
Hey, everybody.
well.
You gonna drink champagne tonight?
I don't deserve it.
Or vodka? Why don't you deserve it?
Huh?
All right.
I didn't slay the day.
I think you did great.
I don't feel like I did, but I suppose I could.
Hey, we are live.
Hi.
Do you know how many event staff you need for each position in your event when you're running it? You're gonna find out. Tonight, Ashley and I are going to talk about why you need a plan, how to get a plan when you're planning. That sounds funny. In-person events. Yeah, we have a new product. We have a new product coming out.
We have a new product coming out, but really the reason for the product is because hosting an in-person event can be an incredibly powerful marketing tool for you. It can be amazing for your business. It can be amazing for even just for personal reasons.
But you can accomplish a lot of goals with it.
You can accomplish a ton of goals with having an in-person event.
The people are invested to come to the event. They're invested in their time, their money, travel.
All of what
they have expectations.
They do. And you do too, and you want to be able to focus on what you need to do in terms of taking care of and really engaging with your potential customers, and folks who kind of get influencers, things like that. The thing is, if you're doing that and you're not used to running events and you're not used to having all of those things that need to be on a checklist checked off, you will be running around trying to take care of details and not really get to focus on what you want to do, which is
piss people off.
Yeah, if it's not all together, then it comes off looking really fast, and we really don't.
That's never really happened to us, though.
Yeah, okay. It's happened enough times for us to know that there's power in those checklists, and so we're here to just talk a little bit about that. It's one of those things that I tell you, I fought it like the devil when I first started in the business. Okay.
You still do.
But you know what? Now that we have, it's like, I'm so glad I don't have to think about it.
Well, just think if we had a checklist on our last trip.
Yeah, we did.
We would have had somebody would have had their license when we got to the airport, or at least they would have known where their license was.
That was a first.
It was a first, but still, it was a first. There's those little teeny things that you take for granted that you don't think will happen. Anyway, so let's talk number one. Let's talk about event staff, right? It's those things you take for granted. This is her first sip of wine tonight.
Yeah,
I
almost sprayed the phone with my wine.
So, event staff.
Event staff. Yeah, you need a certain. Okay, go ahead. You need to have a certain number of bodies in the room who are going to be there in a support role. Not only do they need to be there, they need to know exactly what they're supposed to do. Write out what they're supposed to do. Don't tell them what they're supposed to do. Write it out
and give them power.
Absolutely.
To do what needs to be done. I mean,
absolutely. Give them parameters. Give them.
I've run very large events. I know you need one bartender for 50 people. You need one food server for 50 people. You need sometimes, and we've done this. We've done beer festivals. If anybody's ever been to a beer festival, put it down there and say, yeah, I've been to a beer festival. Everybody, especially VIP, we usually do an hour early.
Right.
Everybody comes when there's beer. Actually, everybody comes a half hour early before the event opens up.
Rush.
So you've got 300, 400, 500 people hitting your gate at one time. They need to get a wristband, they need a cup, they need whatever else for giving them. We've actually our staff has been in the office and walked through the process of what's it take to put a wristband on somebody, how long does this take?
With a stopwatch.
With a stopwatch to get to a pain point. And our goal was always to be the customer being the slowest person, where we're going, come on, buddy, you're next. You want a wristband? Right. Not the staff. Come on, you're next. And at that point, you take your staff from other parts of the event to work just the door, because that's going to be
we're going to need you here for the first 15 minutes when we get the rush at the door, and then as soon as that's over, you're going to go back to your whatever and start pouring samples, or you're going to handle coat check, or you're going to handle.
When we run business conferences, Ashley's the hostess. The host. She's running the show.
The in-person host.
She's involved in the event. She's involved in the event. I'm running around just trying to make sure everything's going right. She can't stop doing anything. But where it's really tricky, our format is all day of presentations, lunch, all day of presentations, and then we break and go to happy hour.
That's work too, but it's fun.
But between leaving the one space and going to the next.
Yeah.
We have to secure equipment.
No, we have to make sure our stuff isn't going to get
We have to
stolen.
answer
Take
questions.
things with us.
The people that
are,
our attendees want to talk to us. The
some
venue
people are
usually
gonna
wants to
leave.
talk to us.
Sponsors want to talk to us. I mean, it's a matter of really understanding.
Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that?
And I know it sounds really rigid, but in retrospect, like I can say, even from this last event that we ran in Fort Lauderdale, there are things that I wish that I had. Like I didn't understand why it was so important that I do things, and I either was thankful that I did or I wish that I had done more. So,
all right,
there you go.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. What's next on your handy dandy list?
How about being prepared, having a checklist, having a plan for weather? Right?
What do you mean?
Oh, what do you mean? We rarely do events in January. Our events are usually travel events.
Most people don't want to travel to a business conference in January. That's just my experience.
Hey.
Comment if you think I'm completely wrong. If you like to travel for business right after the holidays, I think people are just beat.
But if you live north of the South Carolina, North Carolina line, you can get snow at any moment, and airports can be shut down, and people can't fly in. And
it's also much more snarly when it comes to travel. Certainly, although
snow.
We usually try to get our first conference in kind of before spring break season starts, so that it's not like, oh, I can't come to your conference then because it's over spring break. Like, why don't you make this part of your spring break? We go to fun, nice, warm places. But
Right.
So another tip there, we travel 2 days beforehand. So if we have,
if you're the business host, if you're key and integral in the event,
you really need to be there. Then be there early, or plan to be there early.
One of our big bar crawls, one of our famous events. We've been doing it for 20 years now.
That's a fun one.
It snowed a quarter of an inch.
I was going to say it barely snowed, but it snowed enough.
Snarled traffic. My
mess.
business partner could not get there. It took him 3.5 hours to get.
Couldn't get there. It took me
You couldn't get there. It was a mess. The roads were just a mess. It was right at rush hour.
People were able to walk.
They were able to walk there. Our staff was like all over the place. It was. That was one of the most stressful things I think I ever did. But at the end, it was great.
I mean, it turned out perfect. But so what I would say is this: if you have an event or it can be something as simple as a marketing event, something that you're doing, even a half day or a lunch or even a dinner. Get there way earlier than you think you need to be there. You just never know what's going to happen. And the idea of you being stuck somewhere in traffic or on a train or on a bus or whatever you're using.
Or in another city 600 miles away.
Yeah, you don't want that to happen either. So we generally travel far enough for our business conferences that we need to fly.
It's happened a few times. We've missed our flight.
We fly first thing on Saturday morning so that we will be there Saturday night, and we have a day cushion to manage any crazy ass details that need to be covered between then and when the conference starts.
Starts on Monday morning.
So,
another thing on the weather, wind. If you're doing something outside, be prepared for the wind. Be prepared for the rain. There's indoor weather situations too.
Yeah, it's always cold.
It should be cold.
Yes.
But it's either too cold or too hot. We actually had one event we did.
It's never just right.
We had one event we did where there were two different systems powering a room, and they were fighting all day. The air conditioner was on one side, and then the heat was on, and then they'd flip back and forth.
And they were turning.
I'm cold. I'm hot.
turning
I'm
each
cold.
other
I'm
on.
hot. I'm cold. I'm hot.
Like that.
Yeah. Anyway,
but it worked out.
Number 3 on our list.
What do you have to say about that? Just always bring a sweater or a jacket or something that you can throw on over yourself. Or shorts to whatever. You never know.
Be comfortable.
This is like
not just for you and your staff. It's for everybody.
But when you're sitting down at a conference, even if it's 80 degrees out, like we're in Fort Lauderdale, and
Vegas is always cold.
It was cold inside. Yeah, it's always cold in Vegas too, but not outside, but inside. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, what's next?
Contracts.
Oh, my favorite.
One of our favorite subjects, contracts. Man, I don't even know where to start, but you have contracts for the hotel, you have contracts for AV. If you're transporting people, you have contracts for them. The hotel's job is to make money on the event. The AV company is to make money on the event. The transportation company is to make money on the event. You have outside entertainment. everybody's contract is the most important to them. And just remember that. And we're the most important to us, and our customers are the most important to us. Everybody thinks they're the most important person in the room, and guess what? They are. So
I would just say
you have to manage everybody's expectations.
You have to manage everybody's expectations, but you also have to remember you're the boss. It's your event.
But once you sign that contract,
don't get roped into something. Make sure you have somebody like at the very least. Boy, this is almost like having a lawyer look over a big real estate
absolutely
contract first. Have an event person look over your contract before you sign it.
It's a newbie. It's a new event planner mistake. I mean, we've been burned on. We've been burned on countless times.
Yeah, this was really great. We're going to have twice as many people at the next one. We'll sign the contract now, and then later you're like, I don't know if we're actually going to have twice as many people, and that contract's really expensive. And if we don't fill everything up, it's going to come out of our pocket.
So the way it works with hotels,
then you're behind, and you're not your importance as the customer isn't as good. You don't have as much negotiation power.
Yeah.
So have somebody take a look at it before you sign it, and have that person not work for the hotel or the AV company or the transportation company, or you know what I'm saying.
So here's another big one, and I've seen this happen so many times. Overselling an event. The room can hold 500 people.
What are you talking about?
All the tickets are going to sell at the last minute. Oh, 500 or 600, what's the difference? 500 to 600, if the room can hold it, it might be a problem. 700, 750, you've got a problem. The hotel, the venue, the people standing in line, you don't have enough staff.
Just say it's sold out,
yes.
Or see if you can get moved to a bigger room. But
then you also need your staff for that case.
You do it. You need to make sure that you have enough staff to staff up.
I remember a beer festival we did that we had 250 tickets sold the week before, and we wound up selling another 1,000 tickets in 2 days. And we had to.
That was awesome.
Oh, it was awesome. It was super cool, but we spent 6 hours deliberating whether to keep selling tickets. And then we realized the problem was that we didn't have enough staff.
Yeah.
But no matter how we sliced it,
no, you're right.
if you are short 2 staff members, or if your staff just right, and your staff members, you guys, anybody who's in the food and beverage business and the catering business,
see there's a certain percentage of staff that just don't show up for whatever reason.
5% in every business.
Sick,
every business, 5% of your
right.
workforce doesn't show up in time. But you plan for that. But let's just say you're planning for everybody to make the most amount of money, get the most hours in, work right, but everybody's got to work. They got to do their job really hard.
So you basically you need to have a couple people who are on deck, or just bring
people. You're short a food server and a bartender.
Okay. You'll feel that.
And all of a sudden, people can't get drinks, and it starts cascading. Yeah. So people start ordering more drinks. And now your bartender's even busier, or your food runner even busier.
We've seen that at events we've attended where
I've run events where it's happened to me.
Where you see the bar line really long, so everybody's like, oh, well, okay, I'm going to get 2 of my drink instead of just 1.
Especially if it's an open bar.
So it takes them twice as long to go through the line, which means the line's getting longer.
And that's from overselling. It's from overselling or understaffing, and they're both a problem. Or over putting too many people in the venue. We've been talking for a while here. We got one more thing, number 5 on my list here. Have a backup plan for everything. Things are going to go wrong.
Things go wrong.
I've run between Ashley and I and my business partners. We're probably easily 5,000 events. I don't need all these fingers to count the amount of time an event ran perfectly.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it still works out great. I mean, it's still really. The event will work out terrific. We have
an event coming up in August. We're going to have 12 speakers there.
I think you mean November.
November, I'm sorry. We have an event in August.
So past August.
We have an event coming up in November. There's going to be 12 speakers. One of those speakers is not going to show up. I don't know which one, but I know one won't show up because it happens every freaking time.
It does.
And it's okay. It's okay because we
prepared.
We prepared. We do one of the tricks we use. We do a makeshift question and answer. Maybe if it's a business event and it's a similar topic, one of the typical questions might be,
I'll pick a topic or a question that no one's speaking about, but is a topic.
What's your biggest pain point
issue,
right
but nobody's
now?
willing to take the mic.
Break into 5 groups. take 5
Right.
minutes.
Talk to people at your table. How are you guys all managing this? Nobody wants to be on camera to talk about it, or nobody wants to make an official statement about it because it's they won't get it through legal. But now that you're here,
this person
right?
220 or 22K for AV and
Oh,
lighting. Yeah,
man.
you might have gotten off cheap.
In Chicago last
I hate
week,
to say you might have gotten off cheap.
Yeah, honestly, Chicago's a rough. I mean,
Chicago's a
it's
union
one of my
town. It's got
favorite
10%
cities,
tax. It's got crazy
it's
shit.
a tough city
Yeah.
for that. So you almost have to lowball on all your contracts, which of course puts you in that other position where you don't want to lowball.
Here's a secret, and I don't want this to get out.
Oh, well, then you should probably not say it because we're on camera.
AV in hotels, if you go a little low, they don't want to look bad.
True.
They'll fill in the gaps. The staff in the room will fill in the gaps for
because
you.
They care.
But you got to take care of them. You can't yell, and you got to work as a team with the staff there.
I would say
You don't want to burn any bridges because you want to go back there in the future or something. But you need to work with them. We always go in thin because it's. First of all, we own the company; it's our money. Secondly, I don't want to pay for something that the hotel. I mean, we pay easy 20-30% of what we pay for at a hotel is not used, and it's just
it's frustrating.
And it's paid big money.
Real frustrating.
It's big money.
Because they're used to selling it to big corporates who have huge accounts.
It's the same thing. It's a waste.
Again,
I mean,
it's still a waste of money. And so they come to us like, well, isn't your client going to pay for it? And we're like, yeah, we're the client. And no, that comes out of our business account. Thanks very much. So, it's got to be a little tough on numbers. You can't just accept like, oh, that's the price they quoted. Well, then that's the price it is.
We know humor.
Negotiate.
We know humor goes a long way. A lot of times we're doing events in the. Where's he going with this? I'm going someplace with this. A lot of times we do events at resorts, or we do events where there's a beach, a pool, or something like that. We've had speakers just forget what time they're on, miss their plane, have a crisis at the office have to attend to.
I've had people who thought that they told me they weren't coming, and then but realized that they didn't actually let me know.
But when they're supposed to speak, and we realize they're not there, and it's usually like. At that moment, they're supposed to speak.
Time to prepare. So
it's like,
just have something prepared. Like just have a couple of backup conversations.
Bonnie decided to stay at the pool today. She's back down there at the beach, and she's going to hang out there today. She asked us to do this for you when the speaker doesn't show up. Or a session. A lot of times you get breakout sessions. You'll have somebody no show or go to the wrong area or just whatever it is.
You never know.
So then you got to go up there, but you can't be like. You can't blame the speaker. You got to take
under the bus.
You got to take the responsibility yourself.
Like, can't throw him under the bus.
Well, we lost that one. Whatever happened.
Oh well.
Hey, here's a great time to network. Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's play a game.
You have questions for other people in the room. Now's your chance.
No. Yeah. But if it's big.
Yeah.
And I've seen some big stuff. That's just poor planning, and you don't want to be caught in that situation.
No. So you plan as much as you can. You control as much as you can, but if you can't, I mean, you're not going to be able to control everything. So then the next thing is just plan a couple of backup people to speak, plan for a couple of backup topics.
It's not really that much to do because you don't have a whole lot of other stuff to worry about when you're doing the event.
All right.
There are so many moving parts. Anyway, thank you for
go.
Spending a couple of moments with us tonight, and we will see you tomorrow night.
Hope you found us helpful. Ooh, Owners Live is tonight.